Hello everyone, welcome to Broadview. My name is Joseph. So I'm so excited to share this topic with you today because it is so empowering to know how amazing our bodies actually are. That we don't need to endlessly search for answers outside of ourselves in order to thrive. Many people have, through modern education, lost touch with how amazing their minds and their bodies are, and many others have been afflicted with health issues that have made them feel that their bodies are flawed. Hang tight, you're going to enjoy today's episode. But first, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. In the medical system today, there are specialists for every part of the human body. There are cardiologists, pulmonologists, ophthalmologists, ear, throat, and nose specialists, and the list goes on and on. As a consequence, many people by default understand the body to be a group of separate mechanical parts. And with that mindset, the heart, the lungs, the eyes, they're distinct and unrelated. This is akin to a car. As the odometer climbs, the brakes wear independently of the struts and the wheel bearings. Yet each component is critical to the safe operation of the vehicle. As I highlighted in our recent video, Germs, Friends or Foe, a better, more accurate way to understand the human body is that of an ecosystem. Our body is a complex ecosystem which demands proper respect and support. As time has marched on with the advances in modern science and technological improvements, it seems that we have lost this vital point. While we can thank modern medicine for innumerable advancements, we must also acknowledge that its evolution has resulted in a system that fundamentally fails to acknowledge that there is a life force within us and that healing comes from the inside out. While medical science is exceptional for crisis and trauma, an outside-in approach to healing is perhaps most evident in the pharmacological treatment of illness. Designed in most cases to manage and suppress surface symptoms, chemical therapeutics often fail to address the underlying imbalances and result in side effects and possible further complications. Many healing arts, on the other hand, see the body as a living ecosystem, part of nature, not separate from it, intimately connected as one. Now, within all of us, there is an innate intelligence from birth, keeping us alive when we are both asleep and awake. The power that made the body heals the body, as the developer of chiropractic Dr. B.J. Palmer once said. Ultimately, we are designed to heal. Healing is an inside job. Think of what would happen if you cut a steak and let it sit, compared to what would happen if you got a paper cut. Now, the absence of life means the steak would not generate new cells or heal. On the other hand, our bodies immediately react to paper cuts where platelets, clotting factor, and a host of other chemical changes take place. Eventually, a scab is formed and new cells are made to seal the wound. If we are designed to heal, why doesn't everyone enjoy good health? In order to understand what goes wrong and why people may experience poor health, we first need to understand what it is that animates us and keeps us alive. When you think of any organ or tissue in your body, the lungs or heart for example, ask yourself what controls them. What instructs your lungs to take in breath and your heart to carry out normal rhythmic pumping? Intuitively, we all know that our brain and central nerve system control these things. Our brain commands and coordinates every cell, tissue, and organ in our body by way of the nerve system. To take it a step further, I would say that it is the force of life that animates us, which flows through our nerve system. Our nerve system is the tissue through which life flows or transmits through. This model of thinking is called vitalism. This model acknowledges that there is a wisdom far superior to our educated intelligence that coordinates and controls all functions of life. There are countless examples all around us actually that demonstrate this amazing wisdom within us. Would you like to hear some? Okay, so every 5 days we get a new stomach lining. Every 11 days we get new taste buds. Every 6 weeks we get a whole new liver. And then every 120 days we get new blood cells, which is why they recommend every 4 months you give blood. And it's now understood that every 5 to 7 years, we have a whole new body. Okay, that's not exactly how it works, but it is true that that's how long it takes those tissues to regenerate new cells. Pretty awesome, right? Now, if we only made new cells, we would be massive by now. Our body is constantly metabolizing and getting rid of old cells as well. Every time we get changed at night, thousands of cells go into the air, and it's understood that 98% of the dust in our home is actually us. There's this constant transformation process occurring in us, but bear in mind that it very much depends on the wisdom within us to properly function. Here's another example. So everything that you don't have to think of to stay alive, who controls these things? By that I mean our breathing, our digestion, our fertility, our sleep and wake cycles, our heart rate. Imagine having to consciously keep tabs on all that. I wouldn't last for more than a minute. I know there are some who say, well, Joseph, what about DNA? I would argue that DNA is the blueprint, and simply that. You still need intelligence and wisdom to build what the blueprint dictates. It's like having a pile of building material and expecting it to build itself into a house when you place the blueprints on top. You need the wisdom and expertise of the lead foreman and his team to carry it out. So the point is, intelligence is all around us, and within us too. In my mind, the whole cosmos is teeming with wisdom. So let's talk health now and how this intelligence plays a role. This intelligence flows through our nerve system, which flows through our back. Here's a spin on words. The neurologic system is called such because there's logic in the nerve. So, what about when we have back problems? How does that influence or interfere with this intelligence? Let's talk about that. How is a back problem actually a brain problem? Surely that only applies to people who have had severe spinal injuries, perhaps work or sport related, who have undergone surgery and need rehabilitation. The truth, however, is that even minor misalignments of the spinal bones can compromise the functioning of the nerve system and the brain's ability to communicate to the body, thus impairing the healing potential of our bodies. Have you guessed what my profession is yet? The brain is floating in the skull in a nutrient-rich fluid called the cerebrospinal fluid. At the base of the skull, there's a large round opening called the foramen magnum, meaning big hole. From this opening, the brainstem emerges and continues on into spinal cord within the spinal column. Now the top two bones, the top two vertebrae of the spine, called atlas, think the Greek god holding the earth, and axis, protect the brainstem. The brainstem is our master control center, or Houston control. It keeps us alive, actually. There are an estimated 450 million nerve fibers that crisscross in this area. It's more specifically referred to the cranial-cervical junction. Now, all life flows through this neurology from the brain to supply life to the rest of the body. Consider that this is the main entry point of the brain into the spinal column, and it's also where nearly every cell comes together before forming brain. Nerves branch out between the 24 movable bones of the spine to innervate the various parts of our body. Nerves go to the thyroid, they go to the tonsils, they go to the postural muscles, the lungs, the heart, the digestive tract, the various glands, the pancreas, the appendix, the colon, the arms, the legs, and so on. Signals from the brain travel down through the spinal cord in our back at a speed of 269 miles per hour, back and forth constantly. So if the nerve system is the superhighway that the brain depends on to communicate with all the tissues of the body, could spinal misalignments, bones out of alignment in the spine, cause dysfunction and symptoms at the tissues connected to the end of those nerves? Something analogous to poor phone reception. In fact, this is what traditional chiropractors have known for over 130 years, that these misalignments create spinal cord tension, irritate the nerves, and ultimately compromise a person's health. Here's an extreme example. If you sever a nerve, if you cut it, all the tissue that nerve supplies life to will go gangrenous and die. We spoke about the intelligence or wisdom in the body. How can the body function properly when there is an interference in the flow of life or in this intelligence? It reminds me of another quote from Dr. B.J. Palmer, when he said that nature needs no help, just no interference. To give some examples of this connection to our spine, the nerves at C2 in the neck, the second bone, control the eyes and ears and the sinuses. So misalignments here may lead to ringing in the ears, blurred vision and floaters, and chronic sinus issues. It's also the brainstem area, so it may cause gastrointestinal issues and breathing issues like asthma. C5 to C7, middle and lower part of the neck, those nerves control the throat and the thyroid. So misalignments here may lead to constant coughing, phlegm, sore throat, and hormone imbalances. Think chronic fatigue, for example. The mid-back controls the heart, the lungs, and the stomach, so think heart palpitations, asthma, chest infections, and heartburn. The low back controls the gut, the bladder, and reproductive organs, so think IBS, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, and even a weak bladder. The brainstem is where all of these nerves meet and controls everything, so this is the most important area of your nerve system. Of course, there are other reasons for some of these conditions mentioned, so always have a professional rule out the red flags. Upper cervical chiropractors mainly focus on locating and correcting spinal misalignments in the upper neck with a gentle, specific, and scientific adjustment. With this in mind, and knowing that life flows through our nerve system, I hope that you're able to see how amazing our body is and that it is capable of healing. So the next time you feel disconnected or sick, just know that you are made perfect and you have everything you need within you to heal. After hearing this, have you come to appreciate the philosophy that has gotten so many sick people well? Did you only think chiropractic was about popping the spine? If you would like me to deliver more content on this topic, drop a comment below. Also, share this video with friends and family if you really did enjoy it. We'll see you next time on Broadview. Disclaimer: chiropractic does not treat, cure, or manage any condition or disease. It merely serves to restore proper nerve supply from the brain to the body and improve the biomechanics of the spine. Chiropractic helps support a healthy lifestyle.